Hello viewers, I welcome you to my channel lecture series on labor laws first. This is first lecture in this series where we are going to discuss what is the concept of labor law. So before discussing the different concepts under the labor law, we must understand what is the concept of labor law. Friends, if we try to understand what is a labor law, we must understand that labor law is nothing but a branch of law. We know what is the general concept of law. Law is nothing but the rules, regulations, norms that are made to regulate behavior of human being. As here also, the employer, employees, these are human beings, and therefore it is necessary to regulate their behavior also. So labor law itself is the branch of law, and it regulates industry and the employment and the relation between employer and employees. Friends, it is law relating to industrial relation. Industrial relation is nothing but the relation between employer and employee and all those which are the part of industry. So it describes rights, liabilities of parties which are involved in industry. So the labor law is nothing but the body of laws, rules, regulations, precedents which govern the relationship between employer and employee, or we can say it as industrial relations. See, the labor law is nothing but the rules, regulations to regulate the relation, to regulate the behavior of parties to this relation. We must understand which are the sources of labor law, as like the sources of law in general. Here also there are sources of labor laws. The first source of labor law in India is the Grand Norm of India, Indian Constitution. It provides the basic source for labor laws in India. Then second source for labor laws in India is international conventions that are enacted or declared by international organization. Then the labor legislations which are declared for the international standards, even in the human rights also. Then what the protocols that are declared by United Nations, these are also the source of labor law. Then specifically the legislations that are enacted in India. As you know, the legislature in India is empowered to enact the laws to regulate a relationship between employer and employee, as well as all those matters that are necessary to be regulated in industry. Then the judicial precedents, these are also the basic source of law. As you know, the judiciary is empowered to decide the matters between contesting parties. Similarly, what the judgments, what the decisions that are given by Supreme Court that have the effect of law. So it is also the law regulating industrial relations. So these are the sources of labor law, as you know. Now we have to see the kinds of labor law also. Generally, the labor laws are categorized in two categories. The first category is individual labor law. We must know that individual labor laws are those laws which regulates the relationship between employer and employees only. It does not deal with the relationship other than the employer and employee. It means the relationship with any trade unions or any other organizations. See, then second category is the collective bargaining law. This deals with the relationship between the employer, employees, trade unions, and organizations. So this law is called as a collective labor law. Now we must know what is object of law. So what is the basic goal for which the law is enacted? The objects are categorized or divided in two categories. First one is immediate object and second one is the ultimate object. Immediate objects are aimed at instant result, or and the ultimate objects that are the basic goals for which the acts are enacted. So the immediate objects are to safeguard the workers against exploitation. As we know, the exploitation of worker was the common feature of earlier industries. Secondly, to maintain good relationship between employer and employee, because good relation between these parties ensures the development of industry, employer, employee, and ultimately the economy of nation also. Then third object is to provide and improve welfare and amenities to worker. Then next object is to settle the industrial dispute. This is also the basic object for which the act is enacted, specifically the Industrial Dispute Act. Then there are certain ultimate objects also. First object is to preserve peace and harmony in industry, as it is necessary for better production in industry. Second is to boost individual, social, and national economy. As you know, the industry plays very prominent role in the development of national economy. Then the next is to maintain peace, law, and order. See, the progress of industry cannot be achieved without the disputeless environment at industry. Then next object is to provide healthy labor and management relations. Then next object is to provide for industrial peace, to provide for settlement of all disputes in such a way that there are no labor problems like strike, lockout, etc. And finally, the another object of labor law is to ensure the workers' participation in management of industry. As you know, before such laws, the industry was wholly or unilaterally managed by the employer. But with these enactments, with the labor laws that came into protection for workers, now workers have right to manage the industry also. Then we must know what is the importance of labor law. See, there are many important points which we can discuss, but here are some that I'm going to discuss. First thing is the industrial laws deals with workers' well-being in office. For example, it provides in certainty what is working hours, then the hiring, firing concept that is regulated now. It also deals with the maternity leaves, pensions, union formation, etc. The final goal of labor law is to bring both employer at the same level by settlement of conflicting issues. Then the basic importance is the laws are necessary to harmonize a relation between employer and employees. So friends, this was some brief information on what is the concept of labor laws and its kinds, importance, etc. Because it is very necessary to know what is the basic concept of law before going to study various labor laws in India. So thank you. If you like my video, if you like my channel, please subscribe it and please share it with your friends. Thank you, friends.